Hey everybody, this is Joe. Thank you for watching my Giga Texas construction update video. Well, welcome to a Monday here at Giga Texas, the 19th of September 2022. And as always, the site is very busy today with a lot of activity you'll see in the video, and we'll get into that in just a moment. But there's two things I want to highlight in the introduction today. And the first is this tweet that Tesla sent out just a few days ago. And as you can see, Giga Texas has hit 10,000 Model Ys produced at this facility already. And the ramp pace is continuing. Just a few weeks ago, Tesla sent out information showing that 1,000 cars per week are being produced. And they've only increased since then. And this ramp increase will continue through the rest of this year and well into 2023. So congratulations to Tesla, congratulations to all the employees and all the workers here to make this achievement possible. The second thing I want to talk about has to do with some of the deliveries that we've been seeing up at the paint shop. And as you can see by this image here, there's these large modular equipment that come wrapped, some in green, some in white. These particular ones on the truck are in white. And thanks to Patreon Russell Albert for providing me additional information on the company that is providing this material. As you can see at the bottom of this image and in the video description, there's a link if you want to get more information. But the company is SSIISA. They're based out of Mexico, and they've been in business for about 20 years or so. And by this list that you see, there's quite a few systems that they produce for many different industries. And the company specializes in engineering manufacturing of HVAC in general, ventilation and extraction systems, painting and baking processes, and general air systems for automotive, pharmaceutical, and other industries. For Giga Texas, particularly, it looks like they're producing some air filtration and some heating and cooling systems, and also probably a regenerative thermal oxidizer system which helps remove volatile organic compounds out of the air, which is a byproduct of the painting process. With these images here, these are just a few examples of some of the installations that they have already completed. And this here at Giga Texas is one of the largest ones that they have taken on in the last 20 years of their business. So anyway, I hope that you enjoy a little bit of this information, especially about SSIISA and what they're producing and bringing here to Giga Texas. And again, congratulations to Giga Texas and Tesla for achieving 10,000 Model Ys produced. We're getting ready to go into the video. As I mentioned, a lot to see, a lot to talk about, so I hope you enjoy it. Thank you very much for watching and have a great day. My drones are ready and raring to go. Let's go flying over Giga Texas. For today, we'll start off on the south end ramp area on the west side, where we'll see more of the excavation and concrete demolition work well underway. And it's now starting to form kind of this shape on the inner, I don't know, 2/3 or so of the concrete ramp. You can see there's a lot of vehicles parked here. These are the newly manufactured vehicles, and then shortly they are moved over to the east transportation site. Also, take a look at that sunrise. It's just beautiful this morning over this part of the factory. But as we look at this end of the excavation area, you can see that there's more work being done to break up the concrete with the red device, and then the yellow excavator is breaking up the rest of the concrete and preparing it to be loaded into trucks to be hauled away. I'm going to continue to monitor this development just to see what this becomes. But as you can see, it's a growing location on this side of the ramp, and we'll also see some additional drilling on the east side of the ramp in just a second. So let's fly to the south and take a look at the material staging and all of the steel and other components that are arranged on this end that continues to grow in size and number. And I'm still wondering whether or not this is related to construction on that south ramp location or if we're seeing something else. As we approach the eastern half, on the left you can see the drilling operation. We'll come over there and get a closer look in just a second, but I wanted you to see the status of this side of this ramp and the material storage here, especially with all of the trailers. They continue to be used here for equipment that is brought into the south end of the factory. You can also notice that the new cars for transportation have been moved completely out of this location over to the east side, and you can see this drilling operation underway. Again, this appears to be an operation to do core samples of the soil underneath the concrete ramp, and they use this to determine what kind of support and reinforcement may be needed. They did this on the other side where they're doing the excavation, so one would presume we're going to see that excavation work continuing on this side. I'm looking into the stamping extension doorways, just trying to get a view inside. Unfortunately, it's just a little bit too bright now. However, this particular door, you can see there's some lighting inside, and there's quite a bit of activity going on the ground or the slab location. Not sure exactly what they're working on at this point in time, but there continues to be a lot of work in here, and we've seen concrete trucks entering as well. You can see the south temporary or the loading platform onto the second floor of the General Assembly, and it continues to be active today with materials that have been brought in. They just finished loading up just before I did this video, and there'll be more coming a little bit later. This view is of the Model Ys that have just recently been produced and are in this temporary location until they're moved over to the east side. I'll also give you another view of this demolition work as we fly around the southwest section of the building, and we'll be looking at the cargo or the receiving doors on this side of the building in just a second. These 7 doors are nearing completion. 4 of them have the load levelers installed. You can see those steel devices on the end of the opening. And then the middle 3, they're continuing to work on installing those. Also, cargo doors have been installed on those locations as well. Continues to be some work pumping out some of the subterranean water pipes in this location. You also see it looks like some work is beginning with this man lift there, also the ramps, and you can just see inside these doorways continues to see production equipment arriving into this location. We're going to arrive up at the west main doors. Looks like there's a lot of work going on the actual doors themselves. Quite a bit of workers here as well, so not sure if we're going to see a reconfiguration of the doorways themselves, or possibly this will be a reconfiguration of that landing area and also these stairs. I'll pivot the drone over to the west a little bit and show you it looks like a lot more vegetation, trees. All of this we saw in the west material storage across the highway in my previous video. They've all been moved over in this location, so presume that they're going to be planting these in and around this wall that they have installed. Continues to see some work on the asphalt as well, so it'll be interesting to see how this matures over time. noticed coming out of this doorway and onto the ramp is essentially a self-propelled modular transporter, kind of a smaller version, if you will, of what you see at Starbase. I don't know exactly what this particular machine does, but it's interesting to see how the worker is making it operate using that remote controller and walking next to it. We'll move up towards the northwest corner of the building. I haven't shown this particular location in a few videos, so you can see how this has transformed, where the buses are stopped, has been repainted, it's been being used for the workers to sort of disembark on the buses at that point in time. And I will give you a different view of the landscaping up here in the far northwest corner near the road. The workers that you see here are continuing to work on electrical systems for the lighting, and the lights will shine up onto the cyber berm. And I'm looking forward to the morning I get here and they are operational, and I'll be able to show you what that looks like with the lights on. But you can see the landscaping is still doing quite well, and the north bridge location and across to the other side you can still see some trailers and trucks bringing materials. I'll reposition the drone to look back to the south so you get an overall view of this end of the building and how it appears today. And then we're going to go ahead and approach the north end a little bit closer to show you some of the activity that's going on. Here at the battery cell loading platforms for the third and fourth floor, you see more equipment is being moved up to the fourth floor, some workers on the third floor platform as well, and generally just cleaned up. In the center you see these 4 boxes with the white tops. Again, I think that's part of a regenerative thermal oxidizer system for the volatile organic component removal from the paint shop. Also here at the paint shop loading platforms and on the ground you can see the green and white wrapped items. We talked about this in the video intro. The company that's providing many of these components is SSIISA, and they produce filtration systems, HVAC, and other systems that assist the painting process. And Giga Texas is their largest project in their 20-year history. As we pan over to the east, you can see more of these red and white materials. This is part of platforms and other machinery support system for production, and it'll be good to see when these are moved in and find out if they're going into the paint shop, if they're going into the casting machine structure, or where they're going to go. I'll maneuver the drone over to the east side of the casting machine structure, where you'll see more deliveries on this end, and again quite a bit of the castings have been completed and are arrayed on the east side of casting. Let's bring the drone up a little bit higher to give you an overall view of how this section of the casting machine structure on the outside appears today. The white racking system that supports the castings seems to be mostly empty today, so we'll have to see them continuing to produce more castings to keep up with production. Repositioning the drone to the north so that we can get a view of the activity at the new permanent electrical substation as the drone continues to move towards the north. You'll see quite a bit of the componentry for the construction of the substation off to the left, including a lot of steel poles that will be needed for supporting the wires that come to and transfer away electricity from the components for the electrical substation. The overall grade work on the main construction site appears to be just about completed now. It is looking very finished and ready for construction to begin. On the left-hand side, you can see the driveways that will allow access into and out of that structure when it is completed. And then in the foreground, we can see how the pipe for the drainage of the water detention pond appears. Also, the earthwork on this side of the roadway to accommodate that pipe. We can see that this excavator is filling up this pit. There's some workers in there to give you a little bit of idea of the scale. And the road has been redirected now over that pipe, as you can see with that truck driving by. Let's continue to the north to show you the state of the construction up on this end. Near that white trailer just to the left, you'll see two of the mounts for the large power poles are already installed. Some of the water detention pond drainage stormwater pipes have been installed as well. We see in this square just to the right of the poles, another of the mount is completed, and the fourth of the mounts has not been started yet. We're still waiting for the drilling to happen. You can see that rebar cage and then the mount just going off to the right of the screen. But as you can see, overall, quite a bit of work going on the new permanent electrical substation construction site. Let's reposition the drone to the far northeast. And along the way, we'll see the Martin Marietta plant. We'll see some of the ponds that currently exist, some of them that are being filled in as the land reconditioning and reshaping just north of the battery cathode plant continues. I'm also going to continue to the far northeast to show you the current state of the rental equipment storage lot and how that is expanding as well. On the left, you can see two of the sort of straight ponds have been filled in with dirt, and another large pond also. A little bit farther north of that location, you can see how some of the ponds originally looked. And in this field, the rental equipment lot continues to seem to grow a bit. There's an extension here on the left-hand side of the screen. Quite a bit of equipment still is stored here. This allows them to not only reposition the material away from the east side where a lot of the warehouse on wheel yard reconfiguration work is going on, it also puts that equipment closer to some of the, hopefully we'll see future construction up in this location. This view gives you an idea of how this entire section has been reconfigured and continues to be reconfigured with a lot of earthwork, moving dirt to the east side and also removing hills and flattening this area out. As we continue further to the south towards the battery cathode plant, one of the things you'll notice is that tent has been relocated to the northeast side. In my previous video, we saw it being disassembled. Now we know they were just simply moving it to allow for more space and equipment to be stored on the east side of the building. So let's get a little bit closer and take a look at some of the activity that is going on inside the cathode plant. A lot of work on the second and third floors is continuing to accelerate. Actually, you'll see a lot of equipment. They're moving and installing HVAC ducting. You can see on the upper floor here, more of a walls sections are being installed to kind of segregate at that particular location out. You can see work on the perimeter grade beam, which is the base of the walls, and that yellow form has extended further to the north. There's excavation work here on the ground floor of this large open section. You can see it extends from the ground floor all the way up to the roof. In this particular location, it looks like they're preparing some foundations that are going to be heavily reinforced here as well. On the second floor here, you can see the treatment has been applied to the concrete floor. It kind of makes it shiny, makes it a little bit more durable. We've seen this in the main factory as well. On the upper floor, you see more of the tubing, HVAC, ducting. You see the black steam pipe here, and then we also see some white pipes for water as well. The mezzanine continues to grow. More of the stairs are in place. We see more interior walls extending towards the north on the third floor. The second floor and third floor in this section have those blue walls installed already. And we see more wall panels on the exterior being installed. Notice that the perimeter grade beam to this section has been poured with concrete. The forms are removed and the walls are sitting on top of that. And we'll start seeing more of that grade beam getting concrete poured and moving to the north to finish out the bases of the walls soon. On the left-hand side, you can see more of the studs for the interior walls have been installed on the ground floor, and reconfiguration work on the second floor with all those mounts and some rework of some of the concrete to prepare for some equipment to be installed onto that section of the building. On the south side, on the ground floor, we can see the wall panels have been installed in such a way that there appears to be at least 4 receiving docks and a personnel door in place. It looks like they're going to do most of the work on the east side for the exterior walls for right now, and we'll see more of the wall panels arrive a little bit later in the video. Also notice on the second floor there that treatment of the concrete has already happened, so it's got that shiny appearance, a little bit of gray look. On this side of the building, we get a chance to see the other side of the wall panels. You can see some cutouts through the walls. This is probably for HVAC ducting work, and you can see the ducts on the third floor. You see on the roof or the ceiling, you can see the steam pipes and some of the other HVAC pipes installed. And here we'll see some of the material equipment, some of the stairs, and some of the workers on the third floor preparing more of the interior walls. Also working on one of those large black steam pipes. Looks like there's going to be a lot of steam pipes installed on the third floor ceiling. This view gives you just a good view of the ground floor, second, and the third floor of how the concrete work and the additional installation of materials is going. The temporary platform is completed. They're using it to load machinery, equipment, and other materials up to the third floor right now. You can see the crane is standing ready to lift more of that. Another shot of the third floor interior walls from this particular view as well, and the second and third floor, kind of the walkway, if you will, on the west side of the building that connects the entire length and how that is shaped. I'll reposition the drone to the north one more time just to look down the length of the building so you can see the current state of its construction. All of the final roof weatherproofing has been installed. You're just waiting for the wall panels to be installed so they can do the transitions from the roof to the wall panels to seal that completely. This view gives you a good view of the material storage on the east side of the cathode plant. And I'm going to reposition to the far east of the trailers and the material staging location just so you can see how it is being reconfigured. As we've talked in the past, the white and red trailers on the left is approximately where we should start seeing a boring tunnel entrance being constructed. Also, we can see that this location here has continued to change shape with a lot of the materials being moved to the farther southeast clearing location. You can also see here where the crates are being dismantled and being prepared for recycling. On my previous video, I speculated that what we were seeing here were wall panels for the battery cathode plant. I've now learned that what these are actually are sections of floor on the second floor in the general assembly structure that had been cut out to allow for the expansion work and the steel installation that we have seen in previous videos. So those are basically discarded sections of floor just being temporarily stored here. This material storage and trailer location continues to grow. You can see more materials, equipment, vehicles have been moved to this section. You can see they're continuing to expand it here in the middle with more of this gravel mix to stabilize the top of the soil to allow for the machinery and equipment to be stored here and also prevent a lot more of the mud that happens when we get the rains. You can also see how the section between here and the warehouse on wheels yard continues to change Also, the warehouse on wheel yard has expanded further to the south here. You see more trailers in this newly completed section. The fence around the yard has been extended as well. You can see that right next to the trailers closest to the drone. Here we see more of this green wrapped equipment, some of the red and white scaffolding, also some HVAC ducting on the left. I believe that this is some of the SSIISA equipment that we see going into the paint shop, just temporarily being stored over here. I'll continue to monitor that to verify if that is in fact the case. We're going to move the drone a little bit farther to the north, give you a different view of the warehouse on wheels yard and how it has grown. Also, note that this small house continues to remain here despite all of the activity and all the change around it. It definitely is hanging on for a long time. We also saw another wall panel headed to the cathode plant just pass by. I'm going to move the drone to the southeast corner of the large parking location just to show you that the new vehicle staging and the transportation lot is now active. You can see these trailers just at the bottom of the screen. This is where workers assign the truckers when they arrive to know which vehicles to pick up. It's also kind of an entry control point. You can see many vehicles on the left stored waiting for transportation trucks. In fact, one just is arriving for this part of the transportation lot. We also see another truck has just loaded up, almost all white Model Ys here. And you can see more of the vehicles that are staged here ready for eventual transportation. As I've mentioned before, the number of spots here is close to 400 and many more opportunities for the trucks to pick them up. So it's more than double what they had in the location on the south ramp where they're now doing all that excavation work. Also note all the light poles are installed in this location, which will allow easy operations 24/7 to pick up the vehicles and transport them up to the railhead yard. Thought I'd finish up the video on this side of the structure, show you the east entrance. You can see more of the body in whites are being stored just behind the glass doors on the ground floor. So it's interesting development that continues to happen here, and I'm not sure exactly why. We see more of the work on the receiving docks on this side of the building for just leaving the right-hand side of the screen, and we have these 10 that continue to be worked on, and they're getting close to being finished, I would think. The east side of the stamping machine structure just shows how this appears today. Not too many deliveries on this particular side of the building, but overall quite a bit of activity. You can see the new roadway on the lower left of the screen. It's what we've been watching with some of the development and the core sampling along that entire length. And also that clearing location just in the middle of the trees. It's just continuing to get some more dirt filled into that location now, so it may be another storage location for the future. This is a great view to show you how this eastern side has transformed, how it appears, and where it is and located to the main building. I'm going to fly the drone all the way up to the north past the cathode plant just to give you a view of how this entire section appears and to help put into context where all of the things that we've seen throughout the video are located, particularly in reference to the main building. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope the information I presented in the intro was helpful. And as always, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. Have a great day.